The UEFA Champions League is the pinnacle of club football, and getting a Champions League medal is the pride and joy of every player. Some players have been able to live through that moment of satisfying triumph at the top of the food chain, while superstars like Harry Kane, Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland and Marcus Rashford still hope that it will be their turn to lift the trophy one day. But for some players, that dream is dead in the water. Today on Goal Line FC, we'll take a look at the greatest players in each position to never win the Champions League. Spoiler alert, this list will surprise you. Before getting into that, if you like the content we put out and would love solid footy videos, slap the subscribe button and ring the bell icon so you'd get the first pop when we release a new video. Now, back to the video. We'll start from the obvious, the goalkeeper. At 45, Gianluigi Buffon has had an incredible career. He's won the World Cup, 10 Serie A titles, the Europa League, and for a bonus, the League One title. But one thing missing from his cabinet is the Champions League. The man did everything else. He's won multiple individual and collective awards at the highest level of the game, and currently holds the title for the most Champions League final appearances. He came close to winning the trophy on 3 occasions in 2003, 2015 and 2017, but lost at every point. Surely one person cannot be so unlucky. At this point, it is all too late for the Italian legend, playing his trade in Serie B. Despite not winning the Champions League, Buffon remains one of the most decorated goalkeepers in the beautiful game. In defence, Lilian Thuram is another player who's been eluded the Champions League trophy. This guy was a proper old-school defender. He was athletic, had a great sense of positioning, and was a nightmare to face in a 1v1 situation. All his ridiculous physical feats aside, and if it wasn't clear before, Thuram never won the Champions League. Thuram never really had a chance in Monaco or Parma. He moved to Barcelona in the hope to win the Champions League in 2006, but he didn't win it still. He's won the World Cup though, that must count for something. Laurent Blanc is one of the greatest defenders to ever play the beautiful game. He was one of the first ball-playing defenders who could fearlessly drive from defence into midfield. The French defender was a striker first, then a midfielder and a defender. He moved to Manchester United and Barcelona in hopes of winning the Champions League, but he always arrived a little too late. Despite his versatility, he never managed to get his hand on the coveted trophy. Another legendary defender who's never lifted the Champions League is Fabio Cannavaro. The guy was a nightmare to play against in his prime, and he brushed away the toughest strikers with ease. But despite his truckload of world-class performances, he was never able to attain Champions League glory. Cannavaro didn't really come close to winning the prestigious trophy, despite playing for Real Madrid, Juventus and Napoli. Zambrotta has a couple of trophies in his cabinet, but they're not exactly the Champions League. Like many players on the list, Zambrotta's won the World Cup and a series of trophies, but when it comes to the Champions League, he's simply choked. He's played for Barcelona, Juventus, and even serial winners AC Milan, but never brought the cup home. He has never really been close to winning the Champions League, but a World Cup medal pretty much cancels all. Moving into midfield, Cesc Fabregas is another world beater who's never won the Champions League. He got to the final in 2006, but lost to Barcelona. Then he returned to Barcelona in 2007, just after they'd won the Champions League. He even joined early enough to win the Super Cup, which counts for something. He then moved to Chelsea in 2014, and that season Barcelona won the Champions League again. Fabregas then left Chelsea after 5 years, and 2 years after leaving, Chelsea won another Champions League. Again. Fabregas was always in the right place at the wrong time. Another midfielder who's had the toughest luck with the Champions League is Michael Ballack. Football in general was tough for the German midfielder. After helping Bayer Leverkusen to second position in the 2001-2002 season, Ballack lost the Champions League final to Real Madrid. History unfortunately repeated itself for the German when he lost another Champions League final to Manchester United in 2008. The hard luck doesn't stop there. He lost the Euros final in the same season. Speaking of kicking a man while he's down, a fellow German who suffered hard luck with the Champions League is Lothar Matthäus. The German was forever intent and purpose one of the best midfielders ever. He's won the World Cup, been named World Player of the Year, and won the Bundesliga title a handful of times. Despite his impressive CV, the gap for a Champions League medal remains. The closest he's come was within 2 minutes with Bayern Munich before a Manchester United double whammy stole the title from his grasp. It must have hurt. Now for the forwards. It will surprise you to know that Ronaldo Luis Nazario de Lima never won the Champions League. Yep, you heard that right. This guy deserves a space in another realm, but for all the magic he brought to the beautiful game. He's another two-time World Cup winner who's been pretty unlucky in the Champions League. Despite joining some of the biggest clubs in the world, his lingering knee injury never really let him play to his full potential. After winning the World Cup twice, Ronaldo never really made inroads in the Champions League in one of the biggest cases of what could have been. Just like Ronaldo, Gabriel Batistuta is another imperial striker who never came close to winning the Champions League. Batigol never won the World Cup like many players on the list, but he scored a beautiful catalogue of 245 goals. A huge chunk of his career was spent at Fiorentina, and sincerely, they've never really come close to winning the Champions League. The furthest he's gone in the Champions League is the group stage. To complete our list, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is probably the best example of right place, wrong time. This guy joined Inter in 2006 and moved to Barcelona in 2009. Within his first year at Catalonia, Inter won their first Champions League title in over 30 years. The following season, he left Barcelona to AC Milan, and you know what happened next? Barcelona wins the Champions League. Just like Fabregas, Zlatan made the right moves, but a little too late. That's why his only European trophy is the Europa League title he won with Manchester United in 2017. It's never beyond Zlatan to try for another title still. Anyway, there we have it, guys. Those are 11 absolute greats to have not won the Champions League. You know how it is. We can't always fit all the names out there. Surely there are more legends who's never won the Champions League. Drop their names in the comments section. While you do that, check out the richest players in the world in this video. Number 1 will surprise you. And slap the subscribe button so you get the first ring once we have a new video. We'll catch you next time. Peace out.